This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin Freakin.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol live. It's a freaking Tuesday. It's Tuesday. DJ Dub, welcome in. Julie, Meekcakes, Zon, welcome. Sorry, but I should know these things. Like, you know, I do a show that is, you know, different depending on the day. Last night was Live Music Monday. I'm responsible for getting my clients things on time, on a schedule. I should know what day of the week it is, but I don't. In my defense, I took a nap this afternoon, so that kind of throws things off. Welcome, good evening. News be doing stupid shit, that's all I got to say. I found out why I can't broadcast to TikTok. It's because I smoked a pot. TikTok apparently, and here's the thing, we were on TikTok for like a whole 4 or 5 minutes. So apparently I'm not high enough for this shit, and hitting the bowl and TikTok yanked me right off. So I had to think about it for a second, like, do we want to be on TikTok? Do I want to take away weed smoking to be on TikTok? Because I tried it out the other day, and I'm on for like 2 minutes, and there are 10 people in the chat. So I was like, oh, well, this TikTok thing might work out. Let's do this. Took me out immediately. That goddamn TikTok indeed. Yeah, fuck you, Jesse. I'm sorry. Using your government name up in here. Good evening, Battle Opossum. A man totally not named Jesse. Oh, Julie, that's sweet. You never knew how much you needed the Troll Patrol. Aw. Well, I'm glad to have you here. Light one up, tip one back. Let's get high. In honor of Julie's, what, 3 months? 3 months. Hell yeah. My God. This is like the 4th lighter in a week that just went out on me. Be careful, he'll do ya. Yeah, that's a problem sometimes. I didn't dox you. What's Warrior, Flash? You're always making fucking, if one more person tells me to watch White Lotus, I am gonna fucking flip. One more goddamn person tells me I need to watch White Lotus. Yep, doesn't sound like something I like, Flash, sorry. Oops. My bad. I swear to God, if I get told to watch White Lotus again, I'm gonna scream. Mr. Elwood, I have no idea what Severance is. Meatcakes? I don't fucking know. Some Taiwanese show on Netflix or something. I've got my own media consumption habits. I don't need any. I only watch the news and wrestling. Me too, Meatcakes. Me too. I think it may be about a cult. I think you might be right, Flash. It's got Walton Goggins on it. So, like, you know, it would. I might have given it a shot if 50 people hadn't been like, you need to watch White Lotus. You need to watch White Lotus. You should watch White Lotus. Oh my God, I'm obsessed with White Lotus. If I didn't have that in my life, because, like, when people tell me to do something, I want to do the opposite. So don't tell me to watch something. Don't send me recommendations. I will not do it. Totally not a picture of Jeff Hardy. I tell everyone not to give me recommendations. The chat fills up with recommendations. I never seen Game of Thrones. My lord, welcome in. Did I say hey to everybody? I didn't skip anybody. Torchy, so glad to see you. Flash, watch stuff. You should watch Classic Wrestling this Saturday with JustinFREAKIN. We're going to be doing the best of Shawn Michaels WrestleMania edition. So be sure to tune in for that. A green bandana with my pink shirt. I mean, I guess we can make it happen. Battle Opossum. Okay, Battle Opossum is one of those people that likes to send TikToks to your DMs. And it'll send you fucking 10 TikToks in a day. And I'm like, motherfucker, I'm not watching any of these. You want me to pause whatever I'm doing to go to an app that is not user-friendly, especially for desktop users, and watch some fucking 30-second video that wasn't worth me pausing whatever the fuck I was watching. Like, I don't want to... I've had to go through this with people. Like, I appreciate that people think of me and be like, oh, Justin would like this. But you guys have no idea, especially as a streamer, people that don't... Like, Battle Opossum is my best friend. And I fucking get pissed off at him for sending me videos all goddamn day. People that aren't my fucking friends send me videos all the fucking time. And like, it's probably a control thing. Part of it is I need to feel in control. I consume media on my own terms. But another part of it is like, if you're sending me these like 30, 40-second TikToks, they weren't worth me pausing Majority Report or fucking the Jim Cornette podcast or whatever the fuck I was actually enjoying to watch your stupid fucking... God damn, I hate TikTok brain. I hate TikTok. You people with your TikTok brain. Kill me. Like, that was not worth my time. Don't send me that stupid shit. Sorry. I, honest to God, have been sent at least 5 videos today. Did not watch any of them. So, fuck. Now you can see why I go off on people when they come in here like, will you watch this video? Coming into my chat. And like that Vermont politics. Like they seemed cool. Like they were running for office. They were like an older lady. But she just kept trying to post her own video in my goddamn chat as I'm in the middle of the news. And she was like, I'm trying to help you. I'm like, you're fucking up my show. So I don't know if we'll ever get Vermont politics back after I went off on her the other night. Well, then it's gotten to the point now, like, when I send people a video, it is good. It is something that is worth your time to watch. I want that consideration from other people. I want to be able to trust my friends that when they send me a video, it is worth my time to go out of my way to watch it. Battle Opossum doesn't do that. So I've had to put him in his place. But now with me, I never send people videos. So if I send you a video once in a goddamn blue moon, it's worth watching. But this motherfucker, he'll be like, no, don't send me videos. No. And like use my own words against me. The other day, he told me he didn't want commentary on what my cats were doing. So he tells me, like, his kid installed the video game. And I'm like, I don't give a shit. You don't have to give me a commentary what your stupid fucking kids are doing. Quesadilla, good evening. I'm going off on people tonight. I'm sorry. DJ Dub, did I tell you good evening? That's what the Discord is for. Everything's fucking labeled. I ain't gonna go in there watch any of this shit, but go in there. Put the shit in Discord. Get it out of your system. Ducky, good evening. Warlord, good evening. I take issue with T-minus, good evening. I take issue with this meme because he said nothing of the sorts. Nowhere did this motherfucker say, oops, my bad. That was not the response that we got from Pete Hegseth last night when he finally gave a comment after the flurry of stories throughout the day about his incompetence. God damn it. Motherfucking fuck.
Can you share how your information about war plans against the Houthis in Yemen was shared with a journalist in The Atlantic? And were those details classified?
You're talking about a deceitful and highly discredited so-called journalist who's made a profession of peddling hoaxes time and time again, to include the hoaxes of Russia, or the fine people.
Oh, wow.
Or suckers and losers hoax. So this is the guy that peddles.
None of that was a hoax. None of it.
Garbage. This is what he does. I would love to comment on the Houthi campaign because of the skill and courage of our troops. I've monitored it very closely from the beginning. And you see, we've been managing 4 years of deferred maintenance under the Trump administration. Our troops, our sailors were getting shot at as targets. Our ships couldn't sail through. And when they did...
Seriously, DJ Dub, a literal quote. Now, the right-wingers like to say that, he was talking about the people protesting the taking down of the statue, the Robert E. Lee statue. And I'm always like, that was a explicitly Nazi rally. It was organized by Nazis. So who was the other side? That's every time, and they never can answer that. But like, this is so to bring this up again.
Shoot back, it was purely defensively, or at shacks in Yemen. President Trump said, no more. We will reestablish deterrence.
What is Shaq doing in Yemen?
Navigation, and we will ultimately decimate the Houthis, which is exactly what we're doing as we speak from the beginning, overwhelmingly.
Why were those details shared on Signal, and how did you learn that a journalist was privy to the targets, the types of weapons used?
I've heard I was characterized. Nobody was texting war plans, and that's all I have to say about that.
Right,
Thank you. Appreciate it.
They weren't texting, they were Signal apping. Now, I very much wanted to show you this because it's quite funny, the community notes. The Atlantic included screenshots of the Signal chat. The White House confirmed The issue, Speaker Mike Johnson confirmed it. The National Security Council confirmed it to the BBC, and the NSC also confirmed it to Fox News. That's a hell of a community note. And this is from the DoD Rapid Response Twitter account posting it. The DoD got community noted. The journalist in question, Mr. Goldberg, being attacked personally by the right. Trump calling him a sleazebag.
This certainly will look at this, but the main thing was nothing happened. No, the attack was totally successful. It was, I guess, from what I understand, took place during, and it wasn't classified information. So this was not classified. Now, if it's classified information, it's probably a little bit different. But I always say you have to learn from every experience. I think it was very unfair the way they attacked Michael. He's a good person.
Leave Michael alone.
Happens to be a sleazebag, so maybe that's just coincidence. I don't know. He's made up a lot of stories, and you know, I think he's basically bad for the country. But it's a failing venture, very failing venture. They're very upset, and a thing like this is publicity for them. But I don't think we should allow people that are very good, like that man sitting right at the end of the table, who's done a great job. We shouldn't allow them to be hurt by it.
Do you think that Mike Waltz made a mistake, and does he need to apologize?
No, I don't think he should apologize. I think he's doing his...
Made a mistake! What the fuck is wrong with these reporters? They broke the law. They are not allowed to do this, one, on their personal phones. The Signal app, Politico reporting today, the Signal app cannot be downloaded to a federal phone. Therefore, they were using their personal phones to share this information. They broke the law.
Best. It's equipment and technology that's not perfect, and probably he won't be using it again, at least not in the very near future. What do you think?
Mr. President, you asked about lessons. I think there's a lot of lessons. There's a lot of journalists in this city who have made big names for themselves, making up lies about this president, whether it's folks or making up lies about Gold Star families, and this one in particular I've never met, don't know, never communicated with, and we are looking into and reviewing how the heck he got into this room. But I'll tell you what, the world
because I know exactly how he got into that room, because you were incompetent, because the administration is incompetent. That's how.
But I'll tell you what, the world owes President Trump a favor.
A favor? Jesus Christ, these people. Socialist Aunt, welcome in. Jeffrey Goldberg making the rounds today. He's a hot interview. Here he is on with Jen Psaki.
And joining me now for his first Cable News interview since finding himself in that group chat is Jeffrey Goldberg, the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic. Let me first say, I've known you a long time. You've been covering national security issues for a long time. And
longer than you've been alive, probably.
I don't know about that.
Well,
you're not 100, but
not
yes,
100.
for quite a long time. So I just tried to do justice to your story there, which, as I noted, I read many times. You can see my highlighting, my notes, my questions.
A lot of work went in there.
Well, you know, once and always. What did I miss and what did I get wrong?
No, you got the. I think you got the main themes of it. The unreality of it, I think, is something that's very hard.
Oh, Dougie, did I tell you good evening?
Hard time explaining the unreality of it, because, as you note, you've been on one side of that divide. I've been on the other. You know, the national security world is a pretty serious world, and especially at the level below the principals, there are people who take their responsibilities extremely seriously and take security and safety and cybersecurity and digital security very, very seriously. And there are people, we both know of people who've gone to prison for mishandling sensitive information. And so One of my problems.
I know somebody who should have gone to prison for mishandling classified information.
I've been, asked this question a few times today. It's why did you have such a hard time believing this? And the answer is because it's unbelievable. I mean, I've never experienced this through, the pre-9/11 period, 9/11, Iraq, Afghanistan, and so on. These are life and death issues, and you don't just put out specific targeting information, specific timings of attacks that have not yet taken place into a commercial messaging app. And so I obviously convinced myself, as I state in the story, that this was a disinformation operation of some kind. Somebody, a state actor, non-state actor, I don't know who.
We're trying to entrap you.
We're trying to entrap me or fool me, or I couldn't figure out what the actual motive was. That was the one of the hard parts. But I wanted to understand, what was going on here. At the end of the day, the most obvious explanation that it's just real was, for most of the time I was following this, the most improbable, because I'd never seen senior government officials act this way.
It is so stunning. I mean, I think anyone who's worked in the national security.
And also, it bears pointing out that this is apparently a Project 2025 plan to use apps that circumvent the National Records Act so that this is not archived, so that this can't be used against them.
Space in any way.
Criggs, good evening.
It reminds them of moments. It reminded me of a moment. I read the Russia memo. I was just telling you this on Russia's engagement, Russia's intervention in the election in 2016. The very last day I was in the Obama administration, I had to check it out. It was a numbered copy. It was a printed copy. I had to read it in a skiff and give it back. And there's a seriousness with which most national security officials in government take these issues. Let me ask you, one of the things that struck me is that the information shield, you mentioned the specifics of the war plan's operational details.
Right.
There was also, John Radcliffe, who has been in government before, who has had access to national security before. He was on this chain.
Shouldn't.
Director of the CIA.
Fuck, did I make it through 10 minutes in one go?
The details of someone.
Is that the first time fucking ever?
Know well enough not to share information like this, of somebody who was sounded like a covert operative.
So what happened at the beginning of this chain was the principals, the cabinet level people, were asked by Mike Waltz, who is going to be your point of contact in the next 72 hours when we move toward a strike against the Houthis, right? I'm reading this and I'm like, they're really talking about a strike against the Houthis. Radcliffe names, other people name other people who are publicly named public figures. Radcliffe names a person. I'm not going to say the name. The whole real name of this person, who is going to be his liaison. In the course of my reporting and trying to understand, I came to understand that this is an active CIA officer. His name has never been in public before, who is
everyone on the chain may not have had need to know who this person was.
Because remember, the chain is pretty big. The chain is not just 5 intelligence officials or 4 defense officials. It's defense, intelligence, treasury. It's the chief of staff of the White House. It's people who certainly don't need to know the names of. As you know from the classified world, from the secret world, the less you know, the better. Right, the less you have to go to sleep with at night, the better off you are in many ways. You can't get into trouble from not knowing something that you shouldn't know. And so I was, I have to say, somewhat astonished that he would put this official's name into what is essentially an open channel. Forget the fact that he, like everyone else,
they're incompetent.
That they were sharing that information with the editor-in-chief of the Atlantic magazine,
right,
in the same chain, because nobody had asked during the course of this, who is this JG? My initial showed up as JG.
And you don't know who that? Do you know who that is at this point?
I have no idea. I have no idea who. In other words, who Mike Waltz was looking for. I don't know. He didn't answer that question for me.
The thing about signal chats is you have to invite people. You have to list the names to create a group. So there was a conscious just adding of you to this group.
Yes.
There's been a lot of effort to respond. I noted, as I just kind of gave the summary of the piece, you got a response from the National Security Council spokesperson. no.
Oh, yeah, and every agency has been saying, just ask the National Security
Just ask
Council.
them, punting it to them.
Well, what's going on a, you could read the tea leaves here. It's Mike Waltz put this group together, not me. Don't ask me, ask him. That's what's going on.
But every one of those individuals should have known that they shouldn't be having these conversations.
Look,
through a
we
signal
all
chat.
like to think that we're really good at digital hygiene, but most of us are not good at digital hygiene. And if there's a lesson here, I mean, a lesson for a normal person living in the world, it's know who you're texting with. I mean, it's kind of basic. And if, by the way, if you're running a major intelligence operation or the Pentagon, maybe you should know how to operate in a digital environment.
And you said...
Hey, here's another aspect of them operating in a digital environment that is crazy about this. Oh, shit. Fuck it, let's just start over again.
This is the Troll Patrol. Live with Justin Freakin.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol Live. It's a freaking Tuesday. Feels like a Wednesday. It is Tuesday. Here's your meme of the day. Oops, my bad. Yada, yada, yada. Pete Hegseth. He's an idiot. Gave an interview. Totally contradicted. The White House, the National Security Service. Trump took questions from reporters earlier today about the group chat. And no, I'm going to skip this. Fuck this. We don't hear from Trump. We heard the best part of it. Let's skip right to the National Security Advisor, Tulsi Gabbard, head of the FBI, Kash Patel, CI Director, John Ratcliffe, and more. Drugged before a Senate panel earlier today. This is Senator Ossoff questioning Director Radcliffe. Ms. Nixa, Libertad.
Thank you all for joining us and for your
Clinically.
Make sure I understand some of the basics here. So, Director Radcliffe, you were a member of the Houthi PC small group signal chain, correct?
I was.
Yeah, and so were the Vice President, the Secretaries of State and Defense, the National Security Advisor, and Ms. Gabbard, correct?
I believe so. I don't have a list of who was invited to be on.
So,
Light one up, tip one back.
Political reporter Jeffrey Goldberg, correct?
I don't know that.
Yes, you do.
I don't know Jeffrey Goldberg, and I've already testified. I don't know whether or how he was added.
Okay, well, he was a member of the signal chain, and the discussion included the Vice President's private opinion on the wisdom of proposed U.S. strikes in Yemen, correct?
I don't recall.
Buddy, you're the CIA director.
We are making a mistake. I am not sure the president is aware of how inconsistent this is with his message on Europe right now. There was a strong argument for delaying this a month. You don't recall?
I don't. As you
don't recall seeing that?
Read that. I don't.
It included the private opinions of the Secretary of Defense on the timing of strikes in Yemen, correct?
I don't recall.
Director Radcliffe, surely you prepared for this hearing today. You were part of a group of principals, senior echelons of the U.S. government, in now a widely publicized breach of sensitive information. You don't recall whether the Vice President opined on the wisdom of the strikes? That's your testimony today under oath?
In that setting, I don't recall.
Here's what Secretary Hegseth said, quote, waiting a few weeks or months does not fundamentally change the calculus.
It was like last weekend.
One, this leaks and we look indecisive. Two, Israel takes an action first or Gaza ceasefire falls apart and we don't get to start this on our own terms. Your testimony is you don't recall the Secretary of Defense sending that message or reading it?
I recall there being an exchange. I don't recall the specifics as you're reading it.
Well, let's put it this way, Director.
Buddy, this was a week ago. It has been reported. How many different outlets? And you're telling me you can't recall? Seriously?
Ratcliffe, a discussion by...
Not even... I'm ribbing you about how horrible your memory is. If you can't recall what you sent last week that has been reported over and over again. That's bad when Justin is making fun of your memory.
By senior U.S. officials on the timing and risks of a proposed military campaign and disagreements between the president and the vice president about U.S. plans and intentions would be of obvious interest to foreign intelligence services, would it not?
Yes.
And they were discussing the timing of sending U.S. air crews into enemy airspace where they faced an air defense threat, correct?
I'm going to, Senator, defer to the other principles that you're referring to about what the meaning and the context of
dementia patients
timing of
have a better grasp of reality than this motherfucker.
Yes.
Yes, and therefore the timing of sending U.S. air crews into hostile airspace, correct?
Come on, man. Yes.
And therefore the time period during which enemy air defenses could target U.S. air crews flying in enemy airspace, correct?
I don't know that.
You do know that. Let me ask this question, General Hawk. You lead America's signals intelligence collection.
General Hawk?
Would the private deliberation of foreign senior officials about the wisdom and timing of potential military action be a collection priority for you and the U.S. intelligence community?
Senator, it's our job to do indications and warning for both the plans and intentions of adversary leaders and for military commanders.
And would not information about the timing of...
I mean, General Hawk is bound to be cool, right?
Allow a military to pre-position or cue air defense systems to shoot down enemy aircraft?
I think, Senator, from our perspective, any advance warning is something that we certainly are trying to protect.
I don't think it's Hawk. I think it's Haw. I think it's H-A-U-G-H is what it looks like is on his name tag. So General Haw.
Director Radcliffe, this was a huge mistake, correct?
No.
This was illegal.
A national political...
Hold on.
No, you
Let
hold
me answer.
on. No, Director Radcliffe, I asked you a yes or no question, and now you'll hold on. A national political reporter
you can characterize it how you want.
Was made privy
the White
to
House
sensitive information about imminent military operations against a foreign terrorist organization.
Mistake of adding a reporter,
and that wasn't a huge mistake. That wasn't a huge mistake.
Well, I think they characterize it as
an embarrassment. This is utterly unprofessional. There's been no apology. There has been no recognition of the gravity.
They shouldn't be apologizing. They should be resigning and being put in handcuffs. This was illegal. What in the fuck is wrong with everybody? What in the fuck is wrong with the reporters? What in the fuck is wrong with Senator Ossoff? What the hell?
Of this error. And by the way, we will get the full transcript of this chain, and your testimony will be measured carefully against its content. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I thank the witnesses again.
Oh, some stern words from Senator Ossoff. You have got to be kidding me. At this moment in time, with the severity of the situation that we're in, this is one of the most clearest cut examples. You could move forward with impeachment on this. Don't tell me you can't. The White House Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles, was on there. The Vice President was on there. You can impeach the entire administration. They should be in jail. Same Senate committee hearing Apparently, a fight broke out between Virginia Senator Mark Warner and Oklahoma Senator Tom Cotton.
Senator Kelly. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to come back to the topic of the day here, the signal chain as reported by the Atlantic. Ms. Gabbard and Mr. Ratcliffe, you each testified that there was no information operational in nature, no classified information. So I want to ask each of you just a series of, just respond yes or no. I'll start with Ms. Gabbard. In the signal chain that we have been talking about, was there any mention of a target in Yemen?
I don't remember mention of specific targets.
Any generic target?
I believe there was discussion around targets in general.
Mr. Ratcliffe.
I think that's consistent with my recollection. Again, I don't have access to that.
Was there any mention, Ms. Gabbard, of a weapon or weapons system?
I don't recall specific.
I believe there was in the part that we read.
I'm not talking about specific, any weapon or weapon system.
I don't recall specific names of systems or weapons being used or named within the
Well, I'm not asking whether, I don't want you to tell me what the specific weapon was, but any weapon at all. Mr. Ratcliffe, same question.
I don't recall.
How about anything about timing? Ms. Gabbard.
I don't recall specific timing.
Was there any mention?
I won't get into the detail of the conversation, but obviously there was a significant amount of planning and internal discussions that had occurred prior to and outside of this signal chat.
Mr. Ratcliffe, you're nodding your head. Any mention of any military unit whatsoever? Mr. Ratcliffe.
Not that I recall.
Ms. Gabbard.
Not that I recall.
Okay, so I understand that DoD policy prohibits discussion of even what is called controlled unclassified information, or CUI, on unsecured devices. Are both of you aware of that DoD policy?
I haven't read that policy.
Not familiar with the DoD policy, but I would say that the Secretary of Defense is the original classification authority for DoD in deciding what would be classified information.
Ms. Gabbard, does the intelligence community have a policy that prohibits discussion of controlled unclassified information?
Yes.
It does. Okay. Controlled unclassified information, according to DoD, includes information that is information that has not been approved for public release. Would you, of what's been disclosed publicly of the signal chain, would either of you feel that that would be approved for public release? Ms. Gabbard.
Yeah, Tulsi.
The discussion that took place in that signal chat group was a conversation reflecting national security leaders and the vice president around the president's objectives.
So yes or no, would you approve that for public release?
I don't feel I can answer that question here.
Because of the nature of this hearing?
Because of the nature of a private discussion that took place between individual leaders in our government.
It would make sense that you would not approve it for public release, wouldn't it?
There are other factors that would go into that consideration.
Mr. Ratcliffe, yes or no?
I wouldn't approve the release of classified information. Again, as I've said,
so there was classified information.
Mr. Ratcliffe, I'm talking about information that has not been approved for public release. That is information that is considered controlled, unclassified information.
The principles that would have been on that would have been individuals capable of approving that for public release.
I got 20 seconds. The deliberation as to whether or not we should launch a strike on another country, would you consider that classified information, Ms. Gabbard?
Well, the information was not classified.
This is not, I'm not talking about this.
You heard her say that. Keep that in mind. Put that in your back pocket.
As from principles as to whether or not we should launch a strike on another country. Would you consider that classified information? I'm not talking about what happened this week.
There are other factors that would go into determining that classification.
Mr. Ratcliffe, the deliberation between principals in our national security apparatus about whether or not to strike another country, would you consider that to be classified information?
Pre-decisional strike deliberation should be conducted through classified channels.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
If I may, I just want to
fuck you, Tom Cotton.
To your answer there in part, Senator Kelly. It's been raised at several occasions now in this hearing about whether classified information was discussed in this chat, and you mentioned about the Secretary of Defense being what you called, I think, the original classification authority.
Correct. Correct.
I think it's important for the public to understand that although you and Director Gabbard are original classification authorities on many matters, you're not that for all matters that might be classified in the government. Is that right?
That's correct.
So if the Secretary of State has classified sensitive diplomatic details, that's his authority. If the Secretary of Energy has sensitive classified information about our national laboratories, that's his authority. And the two of you can't speak to other departments who have their own original classification authority, and which, of course, as Director Gabbard said, ultimately rested with one person, the President of the United States. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that. It looks like the Vice Chairman wants to weigh in as well.
Just very briefly. I mean, I think it strains the audience and the watching public's credibility if we're talking about timing, packages, that somehow this would be okay to put out. Or just, frankly, senior American officials trashing Europe. I've been around this for a while. This is not information you generally put out.
Yep.
And the notion there's not even acknowledgement of, hey, gosh, we screwed up, is stunning to me. And the idea somehow, well, none of this was classified, but we can't talk about it here. You can't have it both ways.
I think the witness's point is that they can't speak for every official in the government who has original classification authority.
Chairman, I don't, that's not what we're,
you're wanting
to litigate that.
Skirt responsibility, aren't you?
In the face, unless, as Senator Bennett said, this reporter is somehow making this all up. And I think the White House has acknowledged that the text chain that he submitted was authentic. It strains my mind to think, it strains my mind if the shoe had been on the other foot.
Yep.
My colleagues would be saying about this. And again, we're going to get to the bottom of it.
And that's the problem. If the shoe was on the other foot, the Republicans would be calling for jail time for people. And these pussy-footed fucking Democrats are like, well, nobody's even apologized. Why haven't you apologized for the mistake you made? This is insane. Woefully unprepared to meet the moment. That's the Democratic Party.
Your comments, but you guys have both testified under law. There's nothing classified in that information. There's nothing, in a sense, I've not heard either one of you say, gosh, we screwed up. So we'll find out. This is too important to our national security. And again, I know we've got more members to go.
You're not treating it as if it's important.
It's my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, that there's no intelligence community classified information. Is that correct?
That's
Director
correct.
Ratcliffe, is that correct? Director Gabbard?
Yes, Chairman.
Well, again.
That's not correct. She said repeatedly there's nothing classified. Period.
Right. Period. You can't have it both. And again, we'll see. I cannot believe this is not going to come out. And if it's not classified, again, we'd ask you to give it to the public today. I'm sure one of your aides back there probably got it on paper. If you've
Let's see your phones.
Stand by your position. Or is this just one more example of a careless approach to how we keep our secrets in this administration?
With apologies to Senator Moran.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to our witnesses for...
Shut the fuck up. You heard them say it. Nothing classified. Period. So call their bluff. Goldberg. Release it. Goldberg is threatening to release more text from Trump officials' war plan group chat. Don't just threaten it. Not just some. Release them all. You heard her say it. She said nothing classified. Let's put it to the test.
And maybe in the coming days, I'll be able to let you know that, okay, I have a plan to have this material vetted publicly. But I'm not going to say that now because.
I'm sure he's consulting with lawyers, right? Because it's almost certain there was classified information in that. He releases it. They're probably going to come sweep him up. They're going to put him in handcuffs. He's going to have to do... I don't think he's got the balls to do that. But we're talking, this is a matter of the survival of this country and the rule of law. In the 24 hours since his bombshell essay about the jaw-dropping security fiasco, Donald Trump and his administration have downplayed the massive leak and attacked Goldberg's credibility as well as the credibility of the 168-year-old publication. Democrats, meanwhile, have tried to get their hands on the thread and investigate any potential leak of classified information. In an interview with the Bulwark on Tuesday, Goldberg said the messages sent in a top-secret signal group included sensitive and technical information. Do it, you pussy. Man, if I was that reporter, if I was sitting on that information, I would have already done it. I mean, my bad, it wasn't any of their fault. You know whose fault it was that all this happened? It was Joe Biden's.
I'm not going to get into the specifics.
So you
of the
refuse to acknowledge whether you were on this group chat?
Senator, I'm not going to get into the specifics.
Why are you going to get into the specifics? Is it because it's all classified?
Because this is currently under review by the National Security
Because
Council.
it's all classified? If it's not classified, share the text now.
As the White House previously
Is it classified or non-classified information on this text?
I can confirm.
Dr. Radcliffe, were you on the group chat?
Senator, I was on a signal messaging group.
So you were the John Ratcliffe on that chat?
I was.
Thank you.
Can I provide some context, Senator, to that?
Yes, but I've got a series of questions.
Well, but I think it's important because at the outset you made a couple of comments about signal messaging using encrypted apps. So that we're clear, one of the first things that happened when I was confirmed as CIA director was signal was loaded onto my computer at the CIA, as it is for most CIA officers. One of the things that I worked on very early, Senator, was by the CIA records management folks about the use of signal as a permissible work use. It is. That is a practice that preceded the current administration to the Biden administration.
Dr. Ratcliffe, I've got a series of questions. If you're making the statement,
it's Biden's fault.
The signal is a secure channel.
No, can I answer that? It is.
I've got a series
end-to-end decryption. So
it is.
To finish,
I understand encryption.
It is permissible to use to communicate and coordinate for work purposes, provided, Senator, that any decisions that are made are also recorded through formal channels. Right. So those were procedures that were implemented. Come on, man. My staff implemented those processes, followed those processes, complied with those processes, and finally, just please. So my communications, to be clear, in a signal message group were entirely permissible and lawful and did not include classified information.
Well, we will make that determination, because if it's not classified, share the text with the committee. Let me go on. Director Gabbard, you are the security executive and set access guidelines for classified information. Did you contact the defense secretary?
I'm incensed watching this.
After this specific military planning was put out and say, hey, we should be doing this in a skiff?
There was no classified material that was shared in that
So then
signal
if there was no
check.
classified material, share it with the committee. You can't have it both ways. These are important jobs. This is our national security. Bobbing and weaving and trying to,
Because they can get away with it, Curiouser.
So please answer the question. If this was a
They will never be held accountable. It's infuriating.
Intelligence officer who did this kind of careless behavior, what would you do with them?
Senator, I'll reiterate that there was no classified material that was shared in that
Ma'am,
signal.
if there's no classified materials, share. And then if there's no classified materials, then you can't even answer the question whether you're on the chat. This is strangely familiar, and I think my colleagues will remember, when you couldn't answer the question, is Edward Snowden a traitor? Man, I have serious doubts about anyway. Director Gabbard, I'm going to give you this. Tweeted just 11 days ago, and I'm quoting you. Any unauthorized release of classified information is a violation of the law and will be treated as such.
Her own goddamn words 11 days ago.
Information is classified. What are you going to do?
Senator, 2 points here. First of all, there's a difference between inadvertent release versus
careless and sloppy,
malicious leaks of classified information.
Wow.
The point is, there was no classified information that was on
the
the
information
signal
committee.
Oh, I wasn't doing it maliciously. I'm just fucking stupid. It's better that way. Wow. Shelly, good evening. Holy shit. You can fail your way to the top in the Republican Party. You can be absolutely fucking incompetent. You can be one of the dumbest fucks walking the planet. It's insane. Yeah, and watching Fox News about this, just absurd. And here, we all want everybody to be held accountable for this shit. They won't. We only have one hope to stop this administration and preserve our democracy. Guess what's happening? Speaker Mike Johnson floats the idea of eliminating the federal courts. Republican lawmakers are setting their sights on the judiciary following court rulings that have halted Trump's agenda. Now, how the fuck are you going to do this? We're talking about a constitutional branch of government. You would have to have an amendment to do away with the judiciary. We are fucked. It is happening at breakneck speed. This shit took Turkey like 15 years. Facing pressure from his right flank to take on judges who have ruled against President Donald Trump, Speaker Mike Johnson on Tuesday floated the possibility of Congress eliminating some federal courts. It's the latest attack from Republicans on the federal judiciary, as courts have blocked a series of actions taken by the Trump administration. In addition to funding threats, Trump and his conservative allies have called for the impeachment of certain federal judges who have ruled against him, most notably U.S. District Judge James Boasberg, who attempted to halt Trump from using the Alien Enemies Act to deport Venezuelan migrants. We do not have the authority over the federal courts, as you know. We can eliminate an entire district court. We have the power of funding over the courts and all these other things, Johnson told reporters on Tuesday. But desperate times call for desperate measures, and Congress is going to act. Johnson, a former constitutional attorney, later clarified that he was making a point about Congress's broad authority over the creation, maintenance, and governance of the courts. Article 3 of the Constitution establishes the Supreme Court, but gave Congress the power to ordain and establish lower federal courts. Congress has eliminated courts in the past. In 1913, for example, Congress abolished the Commerce Court, and its judges were redistributed to the Federal Appeals Court, according to Congress.gov. And in 1982, Congress passed legislation abolishing Article 3 Court of Claims in the U.S. Court of Customs and Patent Appeals, and established the Article 1 Court of Federal Claims, the Article 3 U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit. House Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan, who plans to hold a hearing focused on Boasberg and district judges next week, said he's speaking with GOP appropriators about what he called legislative remedies. Yay! Not only that, they're out here trying to silence anyone who might stand up against them. Here is the Attorney General of the United States threatening a sitting U.S. Congressperson. Because, you know, that's totally normal. This is Pam Bondi on with Sean Hannity.
About taking somebody out or taking them down or knocking somebody over the head and knocking them over the head hard. Are those threats of violence?
Yeah, Sean, it is. And you know, after she said that about Elon, she said, well, I didn't mean violence. But, however, your words have consequences. And what happened after she said that about Elon Musk, she's a Texan in her own home state. After she said that, this morning, 3 explosive devices were found in Austin, Texas. So she needs to unequivocally denounce the violence.
Oh, so now they know about stochastic terrorism, eh? Now they understand the concept.
In her own home state. After she said that, this morning, 3 explosive devices were found in Austin, Texas. So she needs to unequivocally denounce the violence. She must apologize immediately, not only to all Texans, but to our country, to the American shareholders of Tesla, because she is promoting violence. And then you showed the clip of what she said about Senator Cruz. I believe she probably will be censured by Congress for saying that. You know, people don't.
Okay, so if you talk about
They sure are upset about what Congresswoman Crockett said. Sure would be a shame if Congresswoman Crockett just shut up. Am I not on Rumble tonight? I have no idea, Holiday. I should be. Oh, I didn't start everybody back. I didn't start all the streams back when we started streaming again. Or something happened. We were having a little issue there for some reason. I don't know. I don't even know what went on. Sorry about this. So, I might want to clip this for YouTube, so we're gonna do another go on that one. How about that? This might be good shit. We got the Attorney General of the United States out here threatening a sitting Congresswoman, trying to shut down anyone who would speak up against the administration. Here's Pam Bondi on with Sean Hannity.
If you talk about taking somebody out or taking them down or knocking somebody over the head and knocking them over the head hard, are those threats of violence?
Yeah, Sean, it is. And you know, after she said that about Elon, she said, well, I didn't mean violence. But, however, your words have consequences. And what happened after...
So now apparently the right understands stochastic terrorism. Who would have thunk it?
After she said that about Elon Musk, she's a Texan in her own home state. After she said that, this morning, 3 explosive devices were found in Austin, Texas. So she needs to unequivocally denounce the violence. She must apologize immediately, not only to all Texans, but to our country, to the American shareholders of Tesla, because she is promoting violence. And then you showed the clip of what she said about Senator Cruz. I believe she probably will be censured by Congress for saying that. You know, people don't...
Okay, so...
I don't know what she said about Cruz, but I probably agree. Now, it would be a shame if Congresswoman Crockett decided to just shut up and not continue to speak out against Republican dipshittery. She didn't do that, though, and boy, does she have them all up in arms today.
Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot ass mess, honey. So yes. Right. Okay. All right. I'm gonna move on because I got.
The right incredibly upset about her calling him Governor Hot Wheels. For those who are unaware, the governor is in a wheelchair. He's also a really gigantic piece of shit, but that's not the only person she roasted.
And so, like, undoubtedly, Lauren thought that this cisgender freshman woman was Sarah McBride. She had gotten confused. So she runs out of the bathroom to go and get her big sister, none other than Nancy Mace. And so they come back to the bathroom trying to find Sarah, who ain't been in the bathroom. And then finally, like maybe an hour or two later, Lauren Boebert finally realizes that she got confused. And she goes to apologize to the member that she was rude to, who she was rude to because, but anyway, they're not even good at being like bathroom police. That was the whole point of the story.
Well, we keep hearing these stories over and over again of cisgendered women being accosted in the bathroom. I saw another one today, a woman who was like just happened to be 6'2" and was in the bathroom. Some redneck came in talking about, oh, we're only tranny then. Seriously, fucking bigotry.
Like, you can't even do that right. Go sit down.
Can't even do bigotry right.
So, seriously, no, yeah. Truly.
So thank you, Congresswoman Crockett, for continuing to run your mouth. Just like I will continue to run my mouth. We've got the First Amendment still for right now. They trying hard to take it away from us. Today, Trump's nominee to run the Social Security Administration faced off against his worst nightmare, a man by the name of Bernard Sanders.
Senator Sanders. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Welcome, Mr. Biscagnano. Mr. Biscagnano, in your opening remarks, you mentioned that last year the inspector...
Bisc what? Biscnail? Like, isn't that the thing you dip in your coffee? Biscanano? This is Frank Biscanano. Biscanano?
The General reported that the error rate in Social Security was less than 1%, and it was an error rate that you wanted to improve upon. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. But in his State of the Union address,
Mr. Biscotti,
by millions and millions...
Alien, welcome in. Somebody else snuck in here on me.
President Trump suggested that, quote, millions and millions...
Minty, good evening. Femvox.
Social Security checks are going out to people who are between the ages of 140 and 360 years old. Millions and millions of checks. You've just acknowledged what is true, is that the error rate in Social Security is less than 1%, 99 point whatever of the people who get their checks paid into the system and deserve those checks. So what I want to ask you is, do you think that President Trump was just expressing an outrageous lie, which I happen to believe, trying to undermine Social Security, or was he just grossly uninformed about the reality?
Could be both.
I think what the president was representing, which further was represented.
So, welcome in.
And proven to be.
So, Ribble. Did I get that right?
There were millions of Social Security records that did not have people deceased.
Let's not play with words.
Get him, Bernie.
What you have just acknowledged is that in 2024, the Social Security Administration paid out over 99 point whatever percent of people eligible. The error rate was less than 1%. Millions and millions and millions of people, 200 or 300 years of age, did not get checks. Is that true?
What I represented was that a 1% error rate in a mission critical function like Social Security is way too high.
I agree with you.
That,
excuse me, I don't have much time. Sorry. President
sounds drunk, I think.
People, you're saying, and you're right, less than 1%. You want to improve it? You're right. Let's do it. President was lying. And what he was trying to do was undermine the foundations of Social Security by saying the system is out of control.
He's just Italian.
The question is, Senator Daines made a good point. You call up Social Security today, it's a disaster. Why, if right now it is hard for people to get through in Vermont and all over this country, why do you think the Social Security Administration is now closing down offices and laying off 7,000 employees? And we have heard from Mr. Dudek that he wants to cut up to half of Social Security.
Dudek.
When the department is now understaffed, people can't get through. Do you think it makes sense to lay off half the staff?
first and foremost, I'm not there, sir.
Just answer the question, please. Do you think it makes sense? I know you're not there. Do you think it makes sense to lay off half of the staff when right now it is at a 50-year low in terms of staffing?
Well, I don't know where Mr. Dudek gets his information from, and I don't communicate with Mr. Dudek.
I'll just ask you. I mean, I think what Mr. Senator Daines said was right. Tough to get through right now.
Mr. Duty.
Sense would suggest that when it's bad now, you don't lay off half your staff. Would you agree with me?
I believe that we can drive efficiency for the rest of our life. I also understand that it takes 20 plus minutes to answer the phone.
On a good day.
Right. Well, that's the average published, right? It's not how I would report the numbers because I think...
All right, but all that I'm asking, when you have a system that is not working now, do you think it's a great idea to lay off half of the employees?
I don't know if... do I think it's a great idea to lay off half of the employees when a system doesn't work? I think the answer is probably no.
Okay. I now want to ask you another question, more philosophical if you like.
Probably no.
I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, and you made $100 million recently in compensation in a given year? All right, my question is not to deal with that per se, but right now we have 22% of seniors are trying to survive on less than $15,000 a year. A lot of people, older people, living in desperation in America. Some of us want to expand Social Security benefits because we think people should not be living on $15,000 a year. We're concerned about the solvency of Social Security. We want to extend it beyond where it is right now. Do you agree with me that it does not make sense to somebody like yourself who makes $100 million a year in compensation to be paying the same amount into Social Security as somebody who makes $176,000? Or would you work with me to raise that cap so more money can come into the system?
I know there's an actuarial function.
And we really need to stop. Like, the right wing is dominating argument right now, like, oh, Social Security isn't going to be there. We need to transition people off and get them. No, we need to get people my age upset. You've been paying into Social Security for probably, if you started work when you were 16 and you're my age now, 25 fucking years. You have paid into Social Security for 25 fucking years. That money needs to be there. They need to expand benefits for you. And we need to frame it like that. And that you should be upset that they're trying to not give you the benefits you have paid into.
In the area, I know it's analytics. I'm a fact-based, rule-based person. I'm happy to study anything and work side by side with you, sir.
All right, all I ask in general right now, the system.
You should be angry, DJ Dub, because you're like me. You've paid into it for 25 fucking years. It should be there for us.
I'm sorry?
The system is stressed now financially. We want to increase the solvency and increase the benefits. Is it a good idea to remove the cap, which is now at, I think, $174,000, so that wealthy people contribute more?
Such an easy fix.
I don't think that's the commissioner's job at all, sir. I think the commissioner's job is to run the agency right. I'm happy to provide all the information you want, and I'm happy to be a partner in solving every problem.
Okay.
You're a stupid fuck. I can tell. And this is what people were very satisfied with the way the Social Security Administration ran previously. But the Trump administration came in, took an axe to it, and let me tell you what's going on right fucking now. And these right-wingers will play semantics and be like, well, they haven't cut any funding. They haven't cut any funding. Long waits, waves of calls, web crashes. Social Security is breaking down. The Social Security Administration website crashed 4 times in 10 days this month, blocking millions of retirees and disabled Americans from logging into their online accounts because the servers were overloaded. In the field, office managers have resorted to answering phones at the front desk as receptionists because so many employees have been pushed out. But the agency no longer has a system to monitor customers' experience with these services because that office was eliminated as part of the cost-cutting efforts led by Elon Musk. And the phones keep ringing and ringing. The federal agency that delivers $1.5 trillion a year in earned benefits to 73 million retired workers, their survivors, and poor and disabled Americans is engulfed in a crisis that was just started. This wasn't a crisis 3 months ago. This is not government efficiency. This is fraud. Financial Services Executive Frank Bisignano is scheduled to face lawmakers Tuesday during a Senate confirmation hearing as President Donald Trump's pick to become the prominent commissioner. For now, the agency is run by a caretaker leader in his 6th week on the job who has raced to push out more than 12% of the staff. He has conceded that the agency's phone services sucks and acknowledged that Musk's U.S. Doge service is really in charge, pushing a single-minded mission to find benefits fraud despite vast evidence that the problem is overstated. The turmoil is leaving many retirees, disabled claimants, and legal immigrants who need Social Security cards with less access or shut out of the system altogether, according to those familiar with the problems. Curious, sir, if you're still here. I need to go get my Social Security card. I should do that pretty fucking soon. Before all the fucking field offices are gone. Yep, let's do that. Let's do that next Monday. Don't you need to go for, you need your birth certificate and I need my Social Security card, like we're flipped or something. I think that's a different site, though. I put my Social Security card somewhere where I wouldn't lose it. Oh, you need your real ID. I need one of those, too, actually. But I got to switch to... I still need to... I can probably do that whenever I switch my residence. I need to get my driver's license, which I need my Social Security card for. That's why I couldn't get my license when I was in Alabama and it got expired. So I need to go get my Social Security card. So Social Security Administration completely fucked up. What else is musk-wrecking, huh?
Thanks. Across the state, so many families depend on food banks for their meals these days. Now, though, after federal funding cuts, they're worried how they're going to make ends meet.
NBC Connecticut's Sydney Boyo joining us live in Bloomfield. Sydney, what are some of the concerns you're hearing there?
Mike and Keisha, hundreds of thousands of people in the state of Connecticut are food insecure, and they rely on food pantries and kitchens to survive. But with the new wave of federal cuts, those same food pantries say they face a predicament where they have a high demand, but they're losing funding to help feed more people. Every week, the Bloomfield Congregational Church provides food and feeds hundreds of people.
We serve thousands and thousands and thousands of meals, and in the 7 years that I've been here, it's over 100,000 meals that have been provided to the community.
But federal cuts to the Emergency Food Assistance Program, or TFAP, mean vulnerable communities are now at risk.
50% of the food that we get comes from TFAP sourced. If that program is definitely lost, it will hurt a lot of people in this region, in this town, and in this state.
He says the church gets about 90% of its food from Connecticut Food Share, which is in part funded by TFAP.
Without them, we can't do what we do.
You know, we do get obviously a tremendous number of donations from the grocery industry, but we still couldn't make what we do work without the 30% of the food that we do get from the federal government from the TFAP program.
Now hundreds of food pantries across the state will need to find a way to fill that gap.
There are people from all around Bloomfield will drop off bottles and cans, and then we'll go through a sorting process. And we've already raised $10,000 since we've been doing this for 1 year.
While the program started before the cut, he says he expects more people to come in due to a series of federal cuts.
If the administration doesn't care about the poor, this church does.
On the state level, Connecticut Food Share is hoping a bill will be passed to mend the gap.
We need to step up. We can't replace all of what the federal government isn't doing, but we have to do something.
Now, there is a working bill that would propose an increase of funding to the Connecticut Nutrition Assistance Program. That number would go from $850,000 a year to $10 million a year. To put that into perspective, Connecticut Food Share says these recent cuts, they've lost over $1 million worth of food. Live in Bloomfield, Sydney Boyo, NBC Connecticut News. Mike.
Well, people going hungry makes you upset, then this one's really going to upset you because this is children going hungry because of these fucking greedy assholes running our government. Millions of school lunches impacted by USDA cuts.
Thousands of schools across the country, deliveries like this one are a lifeline. This morning, it's butternut squash grown just miles away, brought directly to the Chicopee High School cafeteria, where 2/3 of the students are eligible for a free meal.
There's no healthier food than local food, straight from your local farmer.
Melanie Wilk is the district's director of food service.
Children who eat healthier food will be healthier and learn more.
Exactly.
Part of $1 billion in USDA cuts that helped fuel millions of students nationwide with fresh, locally grown food. In Massachusetts, over $12 million slashed.
In the letter that we received, it said that the funding no longer effectuates the priorities of the administration.
This is the money item.
Forcing, Wilk says, items like fresh local meat that are pricier but considered more nutritious onto the chopping block.
Is this in jeopardy?
This could be in jeopardy.
Wilk says that's a serious setback for students like senior Nair Wilson.
Do you know of kids that rely on this? This is their one fresh meal for the day?
Yes, I know numerous.
And what do these cuts mean to them?
It means that they're not being taken care of, no one cares, and we're not priority, and local businesses aren't the priority. Giving back is not the priority.
NBC News reached out to the USDA and has not heard back. It's not just the students who will lose out. Local farmer Rosendo Santizo says 1/3 of his business could be impacted by recent USDA cuts.
Are you worried you're going to lose your farm?
I'm like half and half.
An immigrant from Guatemala, now a U.S. citizen, Rosendo worked his way up from farm hand to farm owner.
To be a farmer means a lot. So I enjoy to grow food, to feed people.
You also feed kids.
Yeah, I feel like that's why I came here.
Now he fears his American dream is in danger.
DJ Dub, did you say that on purpose?
To keep
Assault Rifle 50.
So this is a huge setback.
It is.
But it's not over.
No, absolutely not. We're going to feed the kids no matter what.
I figured.
Ultimate goal, the kids will get fed.
Erin McLaughlin, NBC News, Chicopee, Massachusetts.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories.
Shut up, Lester.
News app.
I felt like I hadn't said that in a few days, so I'm glad Lester popped up for us. Makes me happy. I want at least one a show. But I'm not going out of my way just to get an NBC story to yell at Lester. Goddamn, Lester he's too up. Ooh. That doesn't sound right. I shouldn't say that. Only so many Lesters left. Hey, they're cutting the money for food banks. They're cutting money for school lunches, but you can now sponsor the White House egg roll. The White House is selling corporate sponsorships for its annual Easter egg roll. It's the first in the White House's 147-year history of the event. The move leaves ethics experts concerned about the legalities surrounding the promotion of private companies at the White House. But, who's going to stop them? Apparently, this used to be funded by the non-profit American Egg Board. Sponsorships range from $75,000 to $200,000 in exchange for branding visibility. The top-tier sponsorship includes perks like tickets to egg roll brunch hosted by Melania. The money raised will go to the White House Historical Association. Doubt. Idiocracy. It's exactly what it is. I have a feeling that this next story is related to our first story tonight about the signal chain. Because originally, Ursula Vance was scheduled to travel to Greenland on Friday. But now JD is like, I think I want to go too.
Hey guys, it's JD Vance, the Vice President, and there was so much excitement around Usha's visit to Greenland this Friday that I decided that I didn't...
Oh, I've been saying it wrong. Usha. I've been saying it like Ludacris says Usher. Usher. Usher.
JD Vance, the Vice President, and there was so much excitement around Usha's visit to Greenland this Friday that I decided that I didn't want her to have all that fun by herself, and so I'm going to join her. I'm going to visit some of our guardians in the Space Force on the Northwest.
It sounds like he's getting cucked. I didn't want her to have all that fun by herself, so I'm going to join her.
West coast of Greenland, and also just check out what's going on with the security there of Greenland. As you know, it's really important. A lot of other countries have threatened Greenland, have threatened to use its territories and its waterways to threaten the United States, to threaten Canada, and of course to threaten the people of Greenland. So we're going to check out how things are going there. And I say that speaking for President Trump, we want to reinvigorate the security of the people of Greenland because we think it's important to protecting the security of the entire world. Unfortunately, leaders in both America and in Denmark, I think, ignored Greenland for far too long. That's been bad for Greenland. It's also been bad for the security of the entire world. We think we can take things in a different direction, so I'm going to go check it out.
I've actually never played Risk, Ponder Monkey. I always wanted to. It looked fun. Yeah. She does a great smoky eye. Oh, goddamn. You've never played Monopoly? Now that seems absurd to me. I feel like far more people have played Monopoly than have played Risk. It seemed fun, Ponder Monkey. It was just like, it was like an expensive game, and, it was poor. And you had to have, like, a lot of people to play it, and we played basketball and football. I grew up playing basketball and football in my neighborhood. Which, like, I was telling my buddy a Battle of Possum about this the other day, because, like, he grew up, he didn't have other kids around him, right? When I was, like, 4th, 5th grade, we moved to where my parents still live, or my mom still lives. It was like a little subdivision, and, like, all the kids were my age. So, like, we would get, I can't stress to you guys how fun, like, having, like, 5-on-5 football games and basketball games are. Like, when you get all the neighborhood kids to play a game, we had such a great time. Hated playing baseball. Fuck, they always wanted to play baseball during the summer. Hated baseball. But can't we play football? It's not football season. Much rather play football. I'm gonna hit you with the content warning right now. We did this story last night. Award-winning Palestinian director just won an Oscar a couple weeks ago. Had the shit beat out of him. Was detained by the Israeli army. Apparently has been released.
The director of an Oscar-winning documentary about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict was released from Israeli detention on Tuesday. Hamdan Balal, who co-directed the film No Other Land, said he was assaulted by Israeli settlers in the occupied West Bank after filming them attacking his neighbor's house.
I went there to document what's happened there. I'm just filming 2 shots. And then when I saw the settlers, it's like become more and more and attack, throw stones and destroyed everything. I back to my house because I was so scared if they coming to my family and my kids.
He spoke to Reuters from a hospital in Hebron. He said after he retreated, he was beaten by both settlers and Israeli soldiers. He told Reuters he was frightened for his family.
And you can imagine your family, your kids inside the home, and you need to protect them, okay? You just close the door and you are outside filming what's happening when the soldiers and the settler Shem Tov Blusky, he's coming. Because in that moment, just I was thinking about my family and my kids.
Israeli police arrested 3 men, including Balal. The Israeli military said police and soldiers intervened after Palestinians threw rocks at the vehicles of Israeli citizens and later at Israeli security forces. In a statement, the military said, quote, the forces apprehended 3 Palestinians suspected of hurling rocks at them, as well as an Israeli civilian involved in the violent confrontation. Balal's film No Other Land documents the displacement of a Palestinian community and was co-directed by Palestinian...
I can say I want to see this film that much more now, so I will probably go out of my way this weekend to check it out.
Directors. European countries and the previous U.S. administration of President Joe Biden have imposed sanctions on violent Israeli settlers, but under President Donald Trump, the White House has removed them.
There are... God damn it! Fucking fuck! Okay, here's my thing. DJ Dub, are you in here? You still with me? Hold on. Everybody back. So this happened to me last night, right? So we've had the disconnecting problems. My computer completely disconnected last night. I was still on Wi-Fi, could still get on my phone. I thought it was odd, and when I went to do the fix didn't fix it. Usually I just troubleshoot it, it fixes it, boom, I'm back. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna uninstall the network adapter, restart the computer, do a complete refresh, and went through all the, the shit you do in the command prompts to flush all that shit. So I do all that and turn my computer off. I turn my PlayStation on, and this is where I discover something odd. My PlayStation can't connect hardwired, but can connect on Wi-Fi. So now that this has happened to me, I'm thinking it's not my computer. It's my equipment. And I need to call my IP or my ISP and have them switch out my equipment. DJ Dub, what do you think? What says you? I'm using ISP equipment. So have we now realized that this is not my computer causing me to have these issues? Both of them are hardwired. Get rid of what? I'm sorry, my lord. If you wanna give me advice as well. Yeah, they just installed this in December. I mean, I have a feeling I'm just gonna call them tomorrow and tell them to come switch out all my gear. It's fiber. Make a sacrifice to the Wi-Fi gods. Well, it's not Wi-Fi. Like, all my shit is hardwired except my phone. It's not gonna cost me, and hopefully it can fix my issues. They can still help. The fiber demands blood. I'm up to here on this, and I've thought it's my computer, and I was getting ready to order a new network adapter. I don't think it's my computer now. So I should just switch it out. I try Signal. Oh my god. I don't think so, my lord. I think all the virtual networks on when I pull up the network adapter, I think all the virtual networks come from my VPN, which I've been scared to even use that much. I've only used it when I absolutely necessarily have to, like downloading the Righteous Gemstones the other day. I'm thinking that's what I'm gonna do, is just switch out, because like it's done it twice since we've been on tonight. I've also noticed that my internet hasn't been consistently giving me, like, sometimes my internet doesn't give me on my 900 megs per second upload speed it's supposed to. Have I got news for you? Is that a TV show? Are we giving me recommendations again? Oh, goddamn. So the LAN computers need to be on the same VLAN as your router. I don't exactly know what that means. Yeah, see, I would have never even thought about that it could have been the hardware from the ISP until the PlayStation couldn't connect. Where are the network cables plugged into? The Ethernet port? I don't know exactly what you're asking there. I'm sorry. I'm not entertaining people. This is not a good news show at the moment. I'm like troubleshooting the cable from the computer. Where is the other end plugged into? Yeah, curious who was yelling at me about messy wires. It's plugged into the modem. So the little black box that has the fiber optic into it, that's the router. And then the router is one that runs to the big white box, and that's the modem. And that has all my ports, and it does the Wi-Fi. Correct? I'm not an internet guy. I'm not a computers guy. I'm kind of tech savvy, but opposite. The modem is the little black box. And the router is the big white box. Yeah, I did like dial-up tech support for a month when I was 19 or something like that. That's about the extent of my expertise. But adjacent, right? Because I've always done AV tech. I don't give a shit. Russia, Ukraine, they might have come to a deal. They might not. Who knows? Ain't like I work in a tech field or anything. You're exactly right. It's what it's adjacent. I can crimp a Cat 5 cable if I need to. Come on now. Let's do some crime stories here. Yeah, I tried restarting. Thank you, T-. Great advice. I don't think there's anything too graphic, so if you have a weak constipation, no. That's not the word I'm looking for. If you have a weak constitution, that's it. Constipation. Goddamn. Judge denies Karen Reed's latest motion to dismiss. I love this woman.
First here at 5 o'clock, Karen Reed's retrial will...
Tier 2, welcome in, my friend.
Last hour, the judge denied Reed's request to dismiss the charges against her. In her ruling, Judge Beverly Cannoni writes this, quote, such a drastic sanction is justified only in response to the most egregious and truly harmful conduct. In all but the worst cases, the appropriate remedy is at best a new trial, such as the one that is scheduled to begin soon. Good evening, everybody.
No, dismiss the case. This woman is innocent.
David Binick is live outside the courthouse in Dedham tonight. David,
even if she did it, she's innocent.
The judge is tasked with making.
Yeah, that's right, Erica. The judge also has to decide whether to allow the defense to tell
the U.S. constipation,
the jury, namely
intestinal treasure. Oh my God!
Of which she is accused. Now, the judge did allow this for Reed's first trial, but has yet to make up her mind for the second. In a preview of the theory they plan to lay out at trial, Karen Reed's attorneys named the 3 other people they say killed John O'Keefe and the reasons why.
There is ample evidence tending to show that somebody else caused John O'Keefe's death.
Defense attorney David Unetti described Brian Albert as a bully, known for punching other police officers. He said his nephew, Colin Albert, had a beef with O'Keefe over beer cans thrown in O'Keefe's yard. And he said ATF agent Brian Higgins was upset because Reed had stopped sending him flirtatious text messages.
We're solely seeking to introduce the crux of a third-party culprit defense, which is evidence of motive, opportunity, and means, all of which Brian Albert, Brian Higgins, and Colin Albert had.
They're just throwing spaghetti at the wall.
Brian Albert said the defense strategy in the first trial was to concoct a work of fiction by pointing the finger at innocent civilians. It appears they plan to rely on fiction again in the second trial.
Take a couple of facts. Someone's a boxer, they drank alcohol, and convert it into a story. is how they will try to portray these unsubstantiated facts at trial. They'll tell a story. It will divert the jury's attention.
Earlier, Special Prosecutor Hank Brennan argued he should be allowed to see text messages between Reed and Yannetti, saying Reed has given up her attorney-client privilege by talking about her lawyer conversations in public. But as one of Reed's attorneys was arguing against Brennan's request, the judge cut him off and said she'd heard enough.
I'm not going to give you this information, Mr. Brennan. I don't even think it's appropriate for my eyes, so the motion is denied.
What's going on here? What's she doing? I thought she was the stenographer, but I believe the stenographer is right here. What's this woman doing? Oh! Translate. Okay, that makes sense.
So the motion is denied.
Soup, welcome in.
So the prosecutors will not get to see
Foley work.
attorneys. Meanwhile, the judge said that 218 people have already received jury summons to be here for day one of jury selection, just day one. The entire process is expected to last several weeks. Live in Dedham, David Beanick, WCVB News Center 5.
You don't know what Foley is when they do the sound effects. Like if you have a film, you can, like, go watch it on YouTube. It's fun. Like if you've got like a cartoon or something that has a lot of like wild sound effects, they'll actually watch it and do the sound effects if they're practical effects. You know, shit's done digitally now, but it's fucking fun to watch. The superintendent of the Texas schools has been arrested. I have no idea what for. Let's find out together. She apparently resigned today. Oh, it's the North Texas superintendent.
And there are new details this morning emerging from overnight regarding the alleged child abuse out of Millsap ISD.
Oh, shit.
Covering for you. The school board accepted the resignation of their superintendent following her and two other educators' arrest that happened just last week. Now, Lacey Beasley has been keeping up with the very latest developments for us. And Lacey, this is the news that the community was really hoping for. Tell us what else you're...
No, because I've got a story I really want to do, because it could be funny. It could be very sad.
Learning this morning.
That's right. Good morning, Carmen. I was at that first board meeting Friday when the room erupted in shouts of frustration prior to Dr. Mary Edie Martin's resignation. Now, these families say her resignation is another step towards justice for the three alleged victims who also have special needs.
This afternoon.
Oh, thank you, Sue.
Dr. Martin's resignation effective immediately.
Martin was arrested last week for failure to report and intent to conceal incidents of alleged child abuse at the elementary school. What sparked the anger of many was this video.
Oh, yeah, we watched this video last week. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
On the left side of your screen, you see educator Jennifer Dale raising her arm to seemingly try and swing to hit 10-year-old Alex Cornelius, who has autism and is nonverbal. This video shows another educator, Paxton Bean, throwing a toy at Alex.
Why are we blurring her out?
Investigators say one of the...
I showed their faces last week.
Bean punched them. In the affidavit, the Parker County Sheriff say the teachers abuse students with special needs, including taunting, mocking, using profanity, and extensive timeouts. Both Bean and Dale were charged with official oppression, and Bean is also charged with injury to a child. Now, here are two of the alleged victims, 10-year-old Alex Cornelius from the video and 6-year-old Trinity Gardner. Alex's mother says Dr. Martin's resignation is a step in a better direction.
This is definitely a win. They did the right thing. Oh, it was just relief. So grateful that they listened and did what they needed to do to protect our children, because they're not safe with Edie. The district is much better off.
Meanwhile, both the elementary school's principal and assistant principal have been on administrative leave. The board decided to reinstate the assistant principal with limited authority, and they voted to hire a third-party investigator. Carmen, Madison.
Lacey, certainly a story we're going to be watching closely as it continues to unfold.
Carmen, Madison, Lacey, that sounds like the lineup at a strip club. Ponder Monkey, did I tell you good evening tonight? I think you snuck in here on me. I can't believe this next story is going to involve my good buddy.
JustinFREAKIN is a formidable voice in the culture.
A Vermont police officer hit a bicyclist, killing the bicyclist. He was watching YouTube videos while he was driving. He was watching a video of one Mr. Matt Walsh.
Investigators believe a police officer was distracted when he allegedly hit and killed a cyclist. Thank you for joining us at 5. I'm Kiana Berkson for Darren.
And I'm Kat Villianzoni. This comes just days before Sergeant Kyle Kapitansky is set to be arraigned on the charges. Channel 3's Cam Smith joining us now in the studio with new details on the case. Cam, what did you learn?
Well, Kat and Kiana, in these documents obtained by Channel 3, investigators say moments before the crash, Kapitansky was traveling over the speed limit with a YouTube video playing on his in-cruiser tablet. We do want to warn you, some of the video in this story may be disturbing. This video, obtained by Channel 3 News, shows the moments investigators say Sergeant Kyle Kapitansky hit and killed cyclist Sean Hayes on Shelburne Road.
Fuck!
May be disturbing. This video, obtained by Channel 3 News, shows the moments investigators say Sergeant Kyle Kapitansky hit and killed cyclist Sean Hayes on Shelburne Road. Now, in documents filed in the criminal case against him, police believe speed and distraction were factors in the crash. The affidavit points to Kapitansky's body camera, which shows a YouTube video playing on his in-car mounted tablet. In the moments following the crash, investigators say his hand can be seen changing the screen to a police information program known as Valcor. In a response to the affidavit, defense attorney David Slay is asking the court to review its finding of probable cause, stating the evidence presented does not constitute the charge.
It seems to me that what they're alleging is that there was some momentary inattention, not a reckless failure to observe.
What?
That distinction is something he says is the difference between a felony and a misdemeanor. The paperwork states Kapitansky stopped at a convenience store 5 minutes before the crash. Slay says it does not show that he ever interacted with the tablet after leaving. So he's calling for the felony charge to be dismissed.
They don't make any allegation.
Fuck you!
Watching the screen or was otherwise distracted. It appears the best they can do is a misdemeanor simple negligence allegation.
Bullshit!
Well, Kapitansky is expected to appear in court on Thursday for his arraignment. If convicted on the gross negligence charge, he could face up to 15 years in prison. As of now, he remains on leave from the Shelburne Police Department. Kiana?
I like how the local news left it out. Let's go to it. They found multiple YouTube addresses accessed in the 11 minutes leading up to the crash. According to a charging document, the last video the officer allegedly accessed was entitled "Trans Woman Confronting Matt Walsh Takes Unexpected Turn." Lenny, good evening. The crash reconstruction report states the crash likely could have been avoided if Kapitansky was traveling at the speed limit and, wasn't distracted. Technology Investigation Unit confirmed that YouTube videos were visible on the tablet from 2:29 a.m. to 2:40 a.m. Kapitansky struck Hayes at around 2:40 a.m.
JustinFREAKIN is a formidable voice in the culture.
I think this is Matt Walsh's fault. He should be charged too. Okay, prepare yourselves for this one. man was caught recording a child changing and said he was doing it to see if he was a pedophile. Hate to inform you, my friend. I think you're a pedophile. This happened in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. A man who was caught recording a 9-year-old child as he changed claimed he only did it because he was worried that he may be a pedophile and effectively wanted to see if he was. 31-year-old Scott Riley, a father and husband, pled guilty to the creation of child pornography after an incident in which a 9-year-old child who Riley knew found the man's phone recording him in a changing room that he had set up for him. Ooh. According to Crown Prosecutor Andrew Clements, the child was changing in a room Riley told him to go into in his cabin. When he spotted his phone sitting next to a plant, the boy picked up the phone and noticed it was recording, deleted the video, and told his father what he found. Wow, good job, kid. Father asked Riley's wife if she would check his phone to see if there were any other illicit material, at which point she reportedly found 3 deleted videos that showed Riley setting up the phone and testing the angles. When officers later searched the phone, they said they found 2 nude pictures of girls between 10 and 13 years. Ooh. You're exactly right, my lord. This is why it's good to teach children. When we talk about sex ed in elementary school, it's like good touch, bad touch, what to look out for, stranger danger, that kind of shit. It's not teaching them that, you know, they can change their genders. Twitch people, stick around. Yet another not a drag queen. That's exactly right, Samson. I'm gonna stay with you for a little bit after the show. We've been doing this thing where we watch fucked up television shows, and why not continue?
All right, let's go to Alaska now, where some Good Samaritans helped rescue a man and 2 children following a plane crash. Now, on the map, you can see the frozen over lake. Well, there's the map there, but there is a frozen lake where the trio was spotted, and it's in Alaska's Kenai Peninsula. It's about 220 miles southwest of Anchorage. The pilot and 2 children, all immediate family members, were taken to the hospital with injuries, but are expected to be okay. Let's bring in CBS News correspondent Elise Preston.
Wow.
This is live from our bureau in Los Angeles. What a remarkable story, Elise. Can you walk us through how this incredible rescue played out?
Yeah, Liz, it is incredibly remarkable. As you mentioned, that father and those 2 young children, they're elementary and middle school age. They had been missing for 12 hours. So they survived overnight in the freezing temps in this area that we have up on the map here. So we're told that the family went up in a helicopter, in a private plane Sunday night to do some sightseeing when the crash happened. And then there was no communication. They lost communication with them, but authorities were able to ping
Claudius Maximus. Welcome in, my friend.
1,000 square miles. That's about the size of Washington, D.C. As you can imagine, very scary for that family to just go missing, to disappear, no one be able to contact them. So family members had actually posted on Facebook that the family was missing. And that's when Good Samaritans took off and they were looking for them themselves. Take a listen.
I saw the Facebook post about the missing plane and decided to go look for it. I was probably halfway there. I had barely even started looking, and somebody came on the radio and said that they found them.
Wow.
And they were alive. They were walking around. And so that was great to hear. I was really shocked. I didn't expect that we would find them. And I
thought you were going to find corpses?
We would find them alive for sure. Because it was pretty cloudy.
And as you heard, those 3, they were just walking around. They were taken to the hospital, as we mentioned, and they're expected to be okay. Family members got back on Facebook, and they thanked everyone who took to themselves and took to the lake area to look for that family.
Unbelievable, and I can't believe he was so lucky to actually find them. Any word at this point, though, on what caused the crash?
It's not known right now, Liz. The NTSB is looking into it, so they are talking to the pilot and they are also looking at the aircraft. But it is interesting to note, Liz, that authorities have said that this area is really prone to dangerous winds that pick up all of a sudden. So we'll see if that had a factor, if that played a factor.
Probably.
All right, Elise Preston, thank you so much.
This adorable little critter's name is Chi-Chi. Is that a chinchilla? I don't even know what this is. I absolutely despise Jubilee. The only one I've ever watched is Sam Cedars. Not to say that I wouldn't, if Jubilee invited me, I would totally go on. Oh, this is an otter? No? Okay, we got conflicting reports here. Otter, ferret. Name is Chi-Chi. Fox mustelid? You have to apply? I thought I just got big enough and then they would be like, hey, come fight 20 conservatives. I don't know what it is, but it's adorable. Looks like it can't get in that little hole, though. Have you outgrown it, buddy? Did you see how cute that was? I couldn't find Maynard earlier. It really freaked me out. Because I went outside and fed the outdoor kitty. And Maynard, Socks, and Smokey were all at the door. And I was like, get back, get back. And I was pretty sure nobody got out, but then like I'm looking around, I don't see Maynard. I'm like, hey Maynard, hey Maynard. He's not in any of the windows, he's not under the bed. I check in the bathroom because sometimes I shut the door on him, he's in the bathroom. He'd been like in the shower most of the day. That's where he was sleeping earlier. So I was like, oh, maybe he's in the bathroom. Nope. Check the closet, no Maynard. And I'm flipping the fuck out. Because, like, there's not that many places to hide. So I get the treats out. I'm like, Maynard, where are you? The motherfucker was, like, laying inside his litter box. He was in the litter box. Just chilling, laying down. That's disgusting. To be fair, I had just cleaned them. They were clean, but he was just laying in the litter box. I'm like, seriously, dude? YouTube peeps, podcast peeps, anybody that may be left on like Kick or Rumble or I don't even know any of those were working. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack.